Hey guys, time for another Artsy Monday. Because last week's video was a video of my art supplies, I decided that for this week I wanted to post this video, which is a drawing I did right before filming that video. In that video I had put a couple of things in the subtitle section which were things I was waiting for in the mail. One of those were PanPastels. I had ordered a couple of sets and they haven't all arrived. I'm still waiting for one of them. I had ordered a 5-piece set which had the white, black and then 3 grey shades, and then I had ordered a 20-piece set which is the portrait one, and that one was out of stock, so it is going to be sent out to me this week hopefully. But last week I was spending a day with my parents in a city close to where I live, and I knew there was a shop that sells these pastels, so I went in and got a couple of colors to use for the background of this drawing. For the drawing itself I used my PanPastel watercolor pencils, and you can see the set in my art supply video if you haven't seen it or don't know which ones I'm talking about. I usually don't use the watercolor effect with them because I'm just a fan of the color pencil itself. But I decided to use it for this drawing, and so when you see the water brush, that's what I'm doing. I used it for creating a base color before adding any details, and I also used it for softening up some areas. The paper I'm using is from the new paper pad I showed you in my art supply video. This was the drawing I used to test it out, and I really do like it. Definitely gonna buy some more of that and stock up. It holds up to both the colored pencils and the watercolors pretty well, so I'm pleased about that. For this drawing I also used a tiny bit of a white charcoal pencil, although I didn't really use it a lot. I then switched over and used white watercolor from my palette. I used this for the belly and the snow on the twig. The reference picture I used for this drawing is from a website I found. I was looking around on Google trying to find different websites that offered royalty-free images for artists to use, since you can't legally use an image that you just find on Google or some other website for your artwork because someone owns that photo. Two of the websites I found that I really liked was African reference photos and wildlife reference photos. I'll put both of the links in the info box. Now, I know one thing that is going to be a downside to some of you. To use these images you do have to pay for them, but you don't have to pay necessarily for each individual image. They do have subscriptions that you can buy and then pick out multiple images for the same price. And honestly, the photos are really not expensive at all. Plus, you're supporting both the photographer and the whole website and community, making sure that there will be more pictures in the future, so I think it's well worth it. I'm not sponsored by them in any way, I just happen to really like the two websites I mentioned, and so if you're into drawing wildlife, I definitely do recommend checking them out. Another way you can legally get to use photos you find in, books, magazines, online, whatever, is to contact the photographer or the person who owns it. For a book or a magazine that might be a bit difficult, although it can be done, usually the photographer is mentioned, but if you find a picture on a website that you really like, just contact the person who owns it and ask them if they'd be okay with you using it for reference for drawing. Most people are probably gonna say yes, but just to be safe, it's better to ask because you could get in trouble for using images that you don't own the rights to. The twig with the flowers I drew is just free-handed. The bird on the photo was sitting on a very skinny, bare twig with a tiny bit of snow on it, but I decided to add in some blossoms and leaves and twigginess. I don't know, I like it. I just wanted a few more details, so I decided to go with some pink flowers, almost cherry blossom inspired, and I think it ended up really cute. Okay, so for the background I didn't actually record the process because I was so excited to get to use these pastels and I felt like I didn't have the time to set up the camera, but I am gonna do some swatchy on a piece of paper so you can see how they come out. I have been wanting these pastels since the first time I saw them. One of the things I was really intrigued by was the fact that they could cover a large area on a piece of paper in no time, and the fact that they leave very little, if any, dust. When I did the Dwayne Johnson drawing I posted a video of, my desk was covered in dark grey and black pastel dust when I was done, and I had to use acetone to get it off. So yay! This is just a huge plus to me, and I'm so excited because they really didn't leave a mess at all when I used them. They come in these little containers, almost like makeup compact, and they are very much like a powder makeup product because you can easily make a dent in them with your fingers. The tools you use to apply them are called soft tools, and they're kind of like makeup sponges, so I guess you could actually technically use some makeup sponges for it. From what I've read, there were originally 80 colors, and then they came out with 6 additional shades, which were all metallic. You can use the soft tools to mix the colors in the pans, so you can dip the sponges or pick up some color of maybe like a blue and then go into the yellow pan and pick up some yellow to make a green. They're not the most inexpensive product, but from what I could see you don't really save much by buying the sets, and if that's the case in stores near you, you could really just start out by getting a couple of colors, just ones that you know you were gonna use right away, or colors you knew you were gonna use a lot, and then build up your collection along the way. My only complaint is towards the packaging, and that is when you buy the sets, like I bought this 5-piece set, they come stacked and there's only one top lid. They do have an extra container in the bottom with a couple of sponges, which is great, but again, there's only one lid, so you can't store them separately. I enjoy being able to see all the colors I have of something, so I can really pick out the one I want to use. I can learn to live with it, but it does bother me, so I don't know if you can buy separate lids. If you can, that's definitely something I'm gonna look into. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.